Welcome to the lesson on pairs of angles. And so let's get started right away with some definitions. So first we have complementary angles, and two complementary angles, or two angles are complementary if the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. So let's take a look at some examples. So let's say you have an angle here. This is angle A, and if I gave you this measure to be 40 degrees, and then I had another angle down here, this is 50 degrees, and I'll give these angles some names just so that we don't get them all mixed up. So it's B, A, C, and we'll call this one E. Okay. So in this case, you have an angle that's 40 degrees, an angle that's 50 degrees. Together they add up to 90 degrees, so that makes them complementary. So then we can say that angle BAC and angle CAE are complementary. Now, one thing to remember is that they don't necessarily have to touch. Sometimes these angles touch, but sometimes they don't have to. So if I had this angle here, we'll call this angle F. This is 30 degrees, and then another angle, maybe a little bit bigger. This is angle G. This is 60 degrees. Okay, even though they're not touching, they can still be complementary. So even though angle F and angle G don't touch each other, we can still say that they are both complementary. Okay. We'll keep going. So our next vocab word, two angles are supplementary if their measures is 180 degrees. So let's say if I had this angle here, and let's say this is 50 degrees, and then I had another similar angle, maybe something like this. Okay, that's 130 degrees, so this is A, this is B, angle B. So then I can say that angles A and angle B are supplementary. Okay. And you might get these mixed up a little bit, which is 90, which is 180. The way I like to think about it is that C comes before S in the alphabet, so 90 comes before 180. Okay, so C comes before S, 90 comes before 180. So complementary, 90 degrees. Supplementary adds up to 180 degrees. Right. So let's continue down here. Adjacent angles are two angles that share a common vertex and side but have no common interior point. So let's see what this means. So let's say you have an angle here, and we'll call this angle A, B, C. Okay. Have a common vertex and side. So if I were to draw another angle just right on top of this, call this point D, we can say that angles ABC and CBD are adjacent angles. It basically means that they're two angles that are touching each other, but they don't overlap each other. They touch each other right on this common ray. So angles ABC and angle DBC or CBD are adjacent. Okay, basically adjacent just means right next to or touching. Now a linear pair. Two adjacent angles are a linear pair if their non-common sides are opposite rays. So let's say I had an angle like this, angle DEF. They're non-common sides, so that means they have to be adjacent first, so they have to touch. Okay, but their non-common side are opposite rays, so they go in opposite directions like this. Okay. So angles GEF, DEF and DEG form a linear pair. A linear pair is basically an adjacent angle, but the main difference is that the non-common sides, they form a straight line. There's a straight line here. So that's what makes this a linear pair. So they have to be touching. Okay, and a linear pair is supplementary. So you see this? By definition, this angle and this angle always adds up to 180 degrees. However, so I'll call this angle 1, angle 2. They always add up to 180 degrees, okay, and they're touching. Supplementary angles always add up to 180 degrees, and they may be touching or they may not be touching. Okay, so the angles must, this is another way to say this is two supplementary angles that are adjacent. We can say angle DEF and angle DEG form a linear pair. Okay. And finally, two angles are vertical angles if their sides form two pairs of opposite rays. So let's think a little bit about what this means. Their angles form, their sides form two pairs of opposite rays. So vertical angles basically look like this. So you have this angle here, okay, and then you have another angle. So they have to form opposite rays. So this has got to form an opposite ray. These two here form an opposite ray, and these two here form this line here. Okay, this ray and this ray form an opposite ray. So I will name this a little bit differently. I'll call this angle 1, and I'll call this angle 2. So we can say angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. Now, there's another set of vertical angles here. You can also see that angles 3 and 4 are also vertical angles. Okay. So basically, vertical angles are just formed when two lines intersect each other. The angles on the top and bottom are vertical. The angles on the left and right are also vertical angles. So some vocabulary words here. Hopefully some of them are review for you. And if you're not fully understanding this, write down your questions and ask your teacher in class. Okay? I'm going to end this video here and start another video for the back side of these notes. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Make sure you watch the next video.